Trump's lawyer humiliated Jessica Thurlow of The Five on live TV. That's the news we're going to break with you and hear what interesting things Jessica has to say to us.
Everything is fine. The Five is the same. Judge, the Supreme Court justice from Colorado she ate no humble pie today.
Yeah, she ate no humble pie because she's a Trump hater, and that's what this was all about. When you get the United States Supreme Court to agree in a unanimous decision, 9-0, that it is inconceivable, and I think their wording is it's incongruous for anyone to assume that someone who holds state office can literally throw someone or disqualify someone who's a candidate for federal office. You know, the whole thing, I mean, even if you read the text of the Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, it's clear that it doesn't apply to the states. But this is just something that has happened as a result of the mainstream media and Nancy Pelosi's docudrama on insurrection, convincing people that, yes, there was an insurrection, and yes, Donald Trump was an insurrectionist when he hasn't even been charged.
That's right. Unfortunately, our judicial system does not always act according to the law. They are simply ready to accuse a person and punish him for something he did not do. They can write him a huge fine and brag about it, but after that, they have huge problems.
Well, I think that the Secretary of State, Jenna Griswold from Colorado, was actually way further out, what do you say, over your skis, than the average, over her skis than the average Democrat, who, even if they thought that there was merit to the decision from the Colorado Supreme Court, still would have rathered he be on the ballot because of what that portends for the future. That there would definitely have been, I don't want to say another January 6th, but a lot of people who would claim, well, we didn't even get a chance to exercise our constitutional rights. So two things could be true. We think this is the appropriate decision, but we would rather his name be there. And you heard that a lot, especially when the main decision was coming down, because that was unilateral. That didn't even go through a bench trial in the Supreme Court. That was just one woman deciding that he should come off.
Absolutely. It's not even worth arguing about. Jessica wants to talk about how they can't remove Trump, otherwise it would cause a huge stir and riots. I don't agree with her about the court's decision. They did the right thing and the law as it should be.
So I think that it was certainly a sobering weekend. We're going to talk about the slew of polls that came out in the next block and then this decision. But I wanted to just add a couple of things to the judge's analysis. So the insurrection clause doesn't say who decides who's an insurrectionist. And the Supreme Court was unified in the 9-0 that he should stay on the Colorado ballot. But there are actually, within that decision, there were the 5 conservatives who said that Congress is who decides. And Jamie Raskin has already talked about the fact that they're reviving a bill to have him barred because of being an insurrectionist.
Which is a huge waste of time.
Yes.
Potentially. I'm just saying that that's the effect of that. So you had the 5 conservatives, that was the majority there, and then you had the 4 others. So the lady group in all of this. So the 3 liberal justices who objected to how broad the decision was in terms of what the conservatives said with Congress, saying that the Colorado case doesn't work, but that doesn't mean that Congress is the only body that should decide this. And then you had Amy Coney Barrett.
Also a lady.
Well, she's in the lady caucus because she's part of this. It's essentially 5-4 who went against this. And she's saying, I don't agree with everything that the liberal female justices said.
Right.
But I want to make it known that I think it's too sweeping to say that Congress is the only deliberative body that can do this.
Jessica surprises us today. She talks about the right things, which is rare to hear her say. She's talking about a situation where one of the liberal women judges asked Trump to answer why he didn't quell this uprising. That even sounds weird and stupid to me.
You know what it reminds me of, Jesse? Do you remember in 2016 and 2020, and you had these women, they're memes now of them crying when Donald Trump won, just the outbreak. I remember waking up at 2 a.m. and watching liberals just shed liberal tears. That is what's happening. Why? Because America won today. Imagine crying because the Constitution is standing strong and we're not going to turn into Cuba. That's Trump derangement syndrome 101 right there. We're so upset because the Constitution was upheld today, because the Supreme Court showed us that we are not Cuba, we are not a third world country, we are not a banana republic, and that the things I've seen over the past 4 months in New York are not going to become America. And what does MSNBC, The View, and CNN do? They have tantrums. It's literally epic to watch, but we did say this is a clean-cut Supreme Court decision. It's constitutional. They were trying to do something that would have been hurtful to Democrats and Republicans, and that's what people need to remember. It's about America first. It's not about Trump. It's about us.
So, Trump's lawyer described the situation in full. America is screaming and liberals and Democrats are crying. Why is this happening? All because they can't do what they set out to do. Sink Trump. It was a delusional idea to begin with. You have an elderly, mentally retarded pensioner who is capable of screaming at the air and forgetting his text. So why don't you just simply focus on it and quietly develop it? It's a mystery. What do you think about it? Write your opinion in the comments and don't forget to watch other shocking news on the channel.